Welcome, everyone, to the Apoco-Larry podcast. I'm Steve. He is...
The sad man.
Why is he
behind
sad
blue
today?
eyes.
Why? Why so sad?
Because no one knows what it's like to be the bad man. It's the Registrar song. He's the sad
man. Yes.
I can't remember. Is that Boston that sings that?
I don't remember. No,
yeah.
No. All I can think of is what was that? Was that a Winnie the Pooh song? I'm just a little black rain cloud.
Yes, that's when he's going after the bees.
Yes, there you go. Oh. There you go.
We know too much.
In IT speak, we call that "I am the Raven." I'm here to bring death. I'm here to signal death.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, and I read that thing by Edgar Allan Poe, and I don't understand enough to be scared by it. Yeah.
But the people who read it in their time, they were like, "Wow!"
It terrified them. Yeah. And I love ravens.
Yeah.
Ravens, they might be my favorite bird.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Given some of our political climate in Alberta, it should be our provincial bird, actually. Yeah. I digress, but let's get on to, this is 2 Samuel 5. What would you like to introduce this with, my friend?
Well, David finally becomes king. This is it. He becomes king.
Yeah.
Remember, Samuel offered it to him. They think somewhere between 10 and 15, 16 years old. They weren't sure when. And now he's pushing 30, and he's king.
Okay. Well, let's jump right in then.
So 20 years.
20 years. Yeah.
Or 15 anyway.
Yeah.
Between the promise and the fulfillment.
A good long time. Nonetheless.
Long time.
Yeah. All right, folks. Starting at verse 1, because that makes sense. All the tribes of Israel came to David at Hebron and said, "We are your own flesh and blood. In the past, while Saul was king over us, you were the one who led Israel on their military campaigns. And the Lord said to you, 'You will shepherd my people Israel, and you will become their ruler.'" When all the elders of Israel had come to King David at Hebron, the king made a covenant with them at Hebron before the Lord, and they anointed David king over Israel.
Okay, so notice, so now he's in Hebron still. So Saul's kingdom was in Gibeah, right? And David spent, I think they said, 7 years in Hebron. So he's been reigning and ruling in Hebron for about the last 7 years. Now, when they say all the tribes came to him, I think it's the elders, right? The elders are the ones who come to him.
Yeah.
So just a couple of guys from each tribe are coming down to proclaim him king. Some of the important people from every tribe.
Right.
If you go into Chronicles, First Chronicles 12, it mentions the warriors that came and joined him. And Chronicles mentions about 350,000 warriors that came to join him. Now we don't know about inflated numbers in these books. But that's what Chronicles says. So Chronicles suggests that a lot of warriors came down to fight alongside David.
Interesting.
Which helps him in the next few verses as well. But so now, remember we were talking before. We were saying so David was king, like even after he ran from Saul for 10 years there, and finally becomes king. He's still kind of just Judah and Benjamin, maybe, because it was Benjamin where Saul was in Benjamin, and they were the main ones fighting him all the time. So he becomes king here, and now the other parts of Israel are coming down to kind of swear their fealty to him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Okay, verse 4. David was 30 years old when he became king, and he reigned 40 years. So till you're 70, right? We can do the math.
Yeah, and so he died at 70, because if he reigned 40 years, his reign ended with his death.
Yeah. In Hebron, he reigned over Judah 7 years and 6 months, and in Jerusalem, he reigned over all Israel and Judah 36 years. Yep. Verse 6. David and his men marched to Jerusalem to...
let's just stop for a second.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
So he's 30 years old when he becomes king. They figure he was 13 to 17 years old when he killed Goliath.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was just a young teenager when he killed Goliath. And then he went and sang for Saul, and he spent about the next 10 years. So he comes here at 30. So he spent about the next 10 or so years, 10 to 13 years, running from Saul,
Mm.
building his band of 600 men,
Yep.
their families with him, and all of this stuff. He's still a very young man when he becomes king. He's still
Yeah.
30. But he is what is that, 13 or 14 years from the time God promised till the time that he becomes king. So there's quite a lot of just natural stuff happening
Yep.
in between.
Yep.
Yeah.
I always appreciate how you bring that up because we tend to want to look at this stuff and think, oh, that happened next week. It happened the same day. No, there's long expanses in these passages that we just fail to recognize, right?
And just a long time between God's promise and the fulfillment of God's promise.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm.
God's not rushing things here.
No, no,
No.
no. Verse 6, the king and his men marched to Jerusalem to attack the Jebusites who lived there. The Jebusites said to David, you will not get in here. Even the blind and the lame can ward you off. Wow, that's nasty.
Yeah, they're jerks.
Yeah.
They're the peas on the wall when
Yeah.
in Veggie Tales. Remember when
That's
they're
right.
walking around? The French peas?
That's right.
I like
That,
that they're French peas, by the
yeah,
way.
that's right. It's the best. David thought, they thought David cannot get in here. Nevertheless, David captured the fort of Zion, which is the city of David. On that day, David had said, anyone who conquers the Jebusites will have to use the water shaft to reach those lame and blind who are David's enemies. That is why they say the lame and blind will not enter the palace.
Oh yeah, like they yell this lame and blind thing at David. The Jebusites do. And then there's a the Jerusalem. This is Jerusalem, right? And
Mhm.
Jerusalem is fed by a water duct, and his guys go through that water duct to get at them
Mm,
because too hard to get at. Jerusalem is surrounded by valleys on three sides. It's really hard to get at,
mm.
and so in this one way he comes in, but he's so ticked off at them for this lame and blind comment, right? That he says we're going to reach those lame and blind guys, and then later he says the lame and blind aren't coming in here at all. And I think he's not talking about lame and blind people. He's just saying, any of the Jebusites that survived this,
Yeah.
they're not allowed back in Jerusalem.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Verse 9. Then David took up residence in the fortress and called it the city of David. He built up the area around it from the terraces inward, and he became more and more powerful because the Lord Almighty was with him. Now
Yeah, and
here,
I like that too. His power came from that. By the way, they figured Jerusalem, when David moved in there, was about 11 or 12 acres.
hmm,
So not a very big place,
no,
but very well fortified. And I never knew that about Jerusalem, how well fortified it was,
hmm,
for people in those days.
right.
Yeah.
Now Hiram, the king of Tyre, sent envoys to David, along with cedar logs and carpenters and stonemasons, and they built a palace for David. Then David knew that the Lord had established him king over Israel and exalted his kingdom for the sake of his people Israel.
Yeah. This Hiram's a pretty cool guy.
Yeah,
Like the Phoenicians, they were the shipbuilders. They
right.
were the ocean going guys. I don't know if they came over with the sea peoples back in 1200, if they were part of that. There was a migration of the sea peoples in 1200 where they think the Philistines came over.
Hmm.
Some even think the Jews came over, like Noth and them, but he was probably wrong. But the Phoenicians, and this also shows that Phoenicia, I can't forgot the name of their main city.
Is it Tyre?
Tyre.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, King of Tyre.
yeah.
Of
No,
course.
I didn't. I couldn't remember reading that. By the way, I just got
Yeah.
that.
Oh, you did. You did. You just read it, and then I forgot it right away. But they had all these guys, the carpenters and the masons, and he just sends them all down there,
Yep,
and they build this thing up for him.
yep.
He's mentioned a couple times in scripture, and he's also one of the first outsiders to accept Israel as a kingdom.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kind of a cool guy, really.
yeah, kind of like recognizing a new country today. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, we formally recognize them. Okay. Um, then David knew that he established his kingdom over Israel and exalted his kingdom for the sake of his people Israel. After he left Hebron, this is verse 13, David took more concubines and wives in Jerusalem, and more sons and daughters were born to him. These are the names of the children born to him there: Shamua, Shinoah, Shobab.
Yeah, the killer whale. Remember?
Shinobab. Shobab. Wow. Nathan, Solomon, Ibthar. Well, Solomon, sneaky. We snuck that in. Oh, by the way, that'll happen later, but don't worry about it. Ibhar, Ishua, Nepeg, Japa, and then three others. Let's start
Yeah.
with E.
And this is kind of neat because you don't hear about these guys anywhere else.
Right.
So you get the idea that David just had a few sons, but man, he had a pile of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll only hear about a few later on in the book, right? Really.
Well, and Absalom was born somewhere else because he's not mentioned in this list.
Which is weird.
Yeah.
Interesting. Verse 17. When the Philistines heard that David had been anointed king over Israel, they went up in full force to search for him. But David had heard about it and went down to the stronghold. Now the Philistines had come and spread out in the valley of Rephaim. So David inquired of the Lord, "Shall I go and attack the Philistines? Will you deliver them into my hands?" The Lord answered him, "Go, for I will surely deliver the Philistines into your hands."
Yeah, and I wonder how he asked the Lord this time. Like, remember, sometimes it's with the two stones, the human and the
Yeah.
therm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm saying it poorly, but I don't know how he asked. But the Philistines, of course, they're up a little bit north of him, and they're a little concerned, so they go down and take him. Rephaim, they don't know exactly where that valley is, but some say it's just a little bit south of Jerusalem.
Okay.
And that's where they start these battles. Now, if it's true that the 350,000 guys came to David, then he had a pretty big fighting force.
Yep.
Now, maybe the numbers are exaggerated, but we evangelicals just accept them as they're written.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what's in the text.
Yeah.
Which again, like if you think back, right? David was their buddy at one point, and now they're like, "I'm sorry, you're doing what?"
Yeah, yeah. The wars, the friendships and the wars come and go very quickly, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it's not too different today. The United States fought the Japanese, and now, we buy all their cars because they're the better cars on the road.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, verse 20. So David went to Baal Perazim, and there he defeated them. He said, "As the waters break out, the Lord has broken out against my enemies before me." So that place was called Baal Perazim. The Philistines abandoned their idols there, and David and his men carried them off. Weird.
Yeah, I don't know what they did with them. Maybe they were gold and silver, and they just broke them up and used them.
Yep.
I hope they didn't start, bowing down to the dumb things.
Right.
Yeah.
Once more the Philistines came up and spread out in the valley of Rephaim. So David inquired of the Lord, and he answered, "Do not go straight up, but circle around behind them and attack them in front of the poplar trees. As soon as you hear the sound of marching in the tops of the poplar trees, move quickly, because that will mean that the Lord has gone out in front of you to strike the Philistine army." So David did as the Lord commanded, and he struck down the Philistines all the way from Gibeon to Gezer.
Yeah, I wonder what he heard. Like, did he hear? And I wonder what it was. Was it angels?
Yeah.
The angels go before him? Don't know. All you know is he heard the noise. God told him to go fight, and he fought, and he wiped them out from Gibeon to Gezer.
Yeah.
Some of them were old. They called them old geezers.
The original inhabitants were called old geezers.
Old geezers. Oh, that's terrible, isn't it? But now David is establishing his kingdom.
Right.
And now Jerusalem, so these guys came to him. So you figure Jerusalem's about 45 miles from the southern border. It's about 120 miles from the northern border, depending on how you do it.
Right.
The Palestine, they figure, is about 160 miles long and about 30 miles wide at the widest point. So it's not very wide.
Right.
But it is quite long. And it's kind of intriguing that the people around there are like, "Hey, yeah, we'll take them out fairly quickly," and they just cannot.
Yeah.
Because God's on his side. Yeah.
And David finally finishes off what the rest of what Joshua and Moses couldn't, what Joshua couldn't do, right? Which was start kicking these nations out of Israel.
Yes, he does quite, or Or he doesn't always kick them out. He subdues them, though.
Mm.
Like they again didn't kick the Jebusites out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they did out of Jerusalem, but it sounds like they were still allowed to live sort of in the land.
Mm.
Yeah. But then God didn't tell him to kill everybody like he did the first time around.
Right, 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 right.
So, but
Okay,
yeah,
interesting.
but now he's finally king. So 30 years old, and God's finally brought the promise to him.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you, my friend. What a great story of just, this is like Larry said, God taking the appropriate amount of time to let David become king over Israel because he wants it done a certain way. And then the story about the Jebusites and the blind and the lame, and David just being a man of the people, being ticked off. I'll show you, folks. We're always so thankful that you come and listen to this. We are happy to do it, but we're even more encouraged that you listen too. Until next time, I was Steve, he was Larry, and this was the Apoco-Larry Podcast.